Hi everyone. Sorry, I'm just going into this on my iPad so I can see any messages in the chat. Hi Michaela. Okay, I'm glad someone was on after my tech issues. Last time I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any tech issues. So hi Catty. So today we're going to be cutting our cake topper. This is the first time I've shown my cutting process. I don't usually show it because I'm trying to keep my tutorials and my videos quite succinct, but I do get a lot of messages about the materials that I use, the settings that I use. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to just be available to answer any questions you have in relation to materials, but also in general, anything that you want to ask me. From Belarus. Thank you for joining, Catty. So I'm going to cut this cake topper again. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change some of my colors. So I don't have two identical cake toppers. So I think instead of using gold, I'm going to try silver. And I'm a bit undecided at the moment about the rest. I might keep the rest the same, but what I probably do is I'll change my foil that I've got on my flowers here to silver, just because who wants two of the same cake toppers? One of these I'm going to keep. My husband is kindly getting a Valentine's cake for me, so I'm going to put this on my Valentine's cake, and the other one I'll probably sell. So if anyone's interested in buying that, that will be available to buy. Hopefully somebody will want it, because I'm going to frame this one afterwards, but there's only so many cake toppers that I can keep. Your English is fine, Catty, honestly. Hi, Mama D, how are you? I'm really sorry. I'm full up with cold. I have been for the last 2 weeks. I just can't seem to shift it, unfortunately, which is really frustrating, but it is what it is. I have a very small workspace. So I have a table that's in the corner of my dining room. So normally I would have my laptop on my dining table while I'm cutting, but I'm going to try and make it work because I want to be in the screen as much as possible. So what I need to do first, because I haven't done this yet, is I need to change the colors. So let me know where you're joining from, what time it is where you are, whether you're a hobby crafter or a professional crafter, and whether or not you have already designed this, if you're actually cutting with me, or if you're more just watching just to have a chat. Let me know. So I'm going to open up my cake topper and design space. So yeah, this is the right one. So this was the one that I designed with you guys live. Thank you, Catty. Hi, Susie. How are you? So I normally use, I always use my laptop for designing and cutting. Very rarely will I use, I definitely don't use my iPad or phone to design, because the functions are different and I just can't get my head around it. But sometimes I might use my tablet to cut. Very rarely, only if I'm doing a very simple cake topper, because I just find it really difficult to navigate. So I'm going to change my colors. So you can see here that I've got like these gold colors. I'm going to change them to silver just because I hate cutting out, and I would hate to cut out exactly the same cake topper again. So I'm going to change some of these colors around so that I've got silvers instead of golds. So all my leaves I need to make silver. Let me plug in my mouse because I find it a lot easier. So let me just read some of your messages. Isamar, oh, you made it. Hi. Hey Mel. I was just saying about my cake and how I'm going to use my cake topper on your cake. Oh, thank you, Mamadi. I appreciate it. My watch hours have skyrocketed since the first live I did. I think I was on 3,600 and something. And I'm on, the last time I checked, I was on 3,954. So I'm pretty much, I think by tomorrow I'll be there. So thank you. I really do appreciate you helping me get my watch hours up. So Sabrina is in California. It's 105. Oh, your son will love a cake topper. Making life harder for myself as I have to scan and cut. He'll absolutely love it. It's so nice to make things for friends and family. So I'm just going to change the colors of these things very quickly. Bear with me because I want to try it in a different color and just see how it comes out. And then it will also just demonstrate, you know, to people that you can really make a cake topper look quite different if you change the colors. So I'm just going through my design space and I'm just using my layers panel and I'm just going to quickly change the colors. I probably should have done that before. Sorry, guys, but it's been one of those days. I don't really think I have that much silver left, to be honest, but we'll make it work. I'm finding design space is a bit weird at the moment. I think when something's grouped, it just does strange things when you're trying to change the colors sometimes. So, sorry. Right, I'm going to change this to a silver. Let's change that to that silver. Anything I can find, I'm going to change it to silver. So let me know if you're cutting out with me or if you're just watching. If you are cutting out, what colors are you using? Please make sure you send me any pictures or tag me in any posts. I've had so many amazing posts and pictures sent to me and it really makes me so happy. So I'm just going through quickly. Almost there. And then we can start cutting. So is anybody like me and just really hates cutting? Honestly, I just avoid it. Sometimes I take such a long time to make a cake topper because I just don't want to cut it out. I don't know if I'm the only person. Right, so now I'm going to make it. So I'm just going to check your messages. Do the flowers on this cake topper sit on the acetate? Yes and no. Yes and no. They kind of slot in between the layers, but the acetate is nice to hold it at the back so that they're not floppy, but they don't go directly on the acetate. But you can skip the acetate layer and use cardstock in that layer instead, or you can stick them directly onto the text. It just means that some of your text may be a bit covered, so it's up to you. Right, so I'm gonna cut. Let me move this object. So I'm gonna start. Sometimes I do it in the order. Sometimes I do it in the order of the mattes as they come out. Sometimes I'm not sure if colors are going to work together, so I might, like, say if I'm using something and I think it's not going to work, I probably would cut those two things first to see how it looks and then go from there. Oh, my design space is frozen, of course. Sorry, guys. Right. So one of these was the same color, so I want to just change. Oh, right. I think it was the offset. That was a... Okay, that should work now. So let me see how many mattes I have. So in total, I have 16 mattes. However, that may increase because I may need to move things around depending on, sometimes I change the colors, or sometimes I have to use, what's the word? Like, for example, here I've got a white, and actually I want to change it because I need two different types of white. So it's probably going to end up more. But my first thing to cut out is my arrow. Sorry. Some of these things are the same colors and I don't want them to be the same colors. So this is normally kind of the part that we don't show. But I personally like to have everything where I want it to be before I start. So I will I will press make it, and then I'll go to my mattes and I'll see, and I'll be like, oh no, I don't like that there. So, okay. So Michaela hates cutting as well. Yes, and made it to watch Winnie the Pooh show. Oh, is it Crafts by Anne? I think you messaged me to say you were in Disneyland. I'm so jealous. So, is there a big market for cake toppers in the UK? Yes and no. I would say that since COVID, and maybe Mel, who makes cakes, can shed some light on this. I think since lockdown and COVID, people have wanted to do more at home for obvious reasons. And so I feel like since then, people have been more looking at how they can make a home party in particular, or celebration, more fancy, I guess. So I would say yes. The only difference I would say between here and the US is that I find that UK people don't necessarily want to pay what it's worth, because it's a smaller market, and because in the UK I feel like we're a little bit more conservative when it comes to celebrations. That can be a challenge. So I would say there's definitely a market for it, but whether or not you're going to get what you need to get is the question. And I think that was the massive challenge for me, is that I ended up kind of spending such a long time on making cake toppers. You know, sometimes in total they would take me 6 hours to make and design, and then I was charging £15, you know. And so if I was to say, oh, actually this thing, you know, this costs 25 or £30, people wouldn't want to pay, and it became increasingly difficult. So I would say there's definitely a market for it, especially if you're working with more simple cake toppers that you can make more quickly. I know lots of people sell on Etsy, and they make loads of sales. But if you're wanting to do the more kind of intricate ones, it's a bit more challenging, because the amount of time that goes in, you're not necessarily going to get that. What can I say? You're not necessarily going to receive what you deserve. And that we need to have a chat, because somebody put something in one of my comments to say about, not knowing what to charge. And it was a massive talking point when I had a live recently. It was an absolutely massive talking point. So it's definitely a live that I want to have. I'm not an expert in it at all. In fact, I was really bad at pricing. That's probably why I no longer sell. But it is an important conversation that we need to have. to make sure that we're not, it's the same with bakers, you know, if someone's selling a cake for £50 and somebody else is selling it for £100, someone's going to go with the person that's selling it for 50. It's going to mean that the person that sells the cake for £100 is not going to get the sale, but also the person that sells the cake for the £50 is cutting themselves short, and it's a vicious cycle. So I know in the beginning we often do it. We think, oh yeah, you know, I'm new, so I'm going to go in with a lower price, and that makes complete sense, but it's not sustainable, and it's also not good for other small businesses. So there is definitely a market for it, 100%. You just have to kind of really be realistic about how much money you're able to make from it if you're making more intricate cake toppers, would be my view. I don't know if anybody else on here is from the UK that makes cake toppers. So I'm starting off with my, oh, it's a bit glary, but I'm starting off with my arrow and some of my flowers. So for this, I used £65 cardstock from Michael's. I'm really sorry to my UK friends. I'm really, really sorry. But this is the best thing for making paper flowers. So this isn't the colour. This is a different colour, but the Recollections £65 cardstock. I've got like, there's like a pure white and then there's a kind of off-white. I'm using the pure white one. This is the best for paper flowers because, for a couple of reasons, it's not really double-sided, to be fair, but it's very, very flexible, and it's much easier to what's the word, manipulate. So this wouldn't necessarily be something I would use in the layers of the cake topper, but for making paper flowers, I definitely would recommend this. I believe that if you live in the UK, you can now order from Joann's, who will have £65 cardstock. There is £65 cardstock on Amazon in the UK. It's just expensive. So I know it's frustrating, and I try as much as I can to give recommendations from the UK, but I haven't really found much. You can find £65 cardstock, but it's not, this is a pearlescent. It's like a pearlescent, it's got a sheen on it. The ones that you tend to find here in the UK do not have that sheen. They're more matte. And if you don't have one of these, you need to get one today. This is a brayer, and honestly, it makes a massive difference when you are trying to get your materials to adhere to your mat. And if you do this and it's still not sticking, then you know your mat is not sticky enough. So on this card setting, I use, it depends what I'm cutting out, but normally I'll use either light cardstock. Yeah, I normally use light cardstock, which is actually for £65 cardstock. That's what it's designed for. That normally works for me. But sometimes I use intricate cardstock. Yeah, so the GSM of £65 is, sorry, it's probably back to front, it's 176 GSM. So £65 cardstock is 176 GSM, Emma. You can't, trust me, I've searched, you can't find it. You can find close to it. I think you can find 180, but you can't find 176, which is very annoying. And I might have an opportunity soon. I'm in very early talks with a brand that stock cardstock, and it's one of the things I'm going to say that they need to basically get into the UK, because I've made these flower cake toppers for a long time, and when I first started making them, I used to use like really thick cardstock that was in the color of whatever I was making, and it didn't really look great. Or I would use like Hobbycraft packs, but they were always matte, like just very basic, not really, doesn't really look that nice. This cardstock with the sheen really does make a difference. Really, really is nice. So you guys that are in America and Canada, you don't know how easy you've got it, honestly, here in the UK. And that's one of the reasons why I started doing tutorials, because I had so many people from the UK messaging me saying, where do you get this? Where do you get that material? And I spent so much time and money buying things, particularly off of Amazon, sometimes import, to try out. And, you know, I got to the point where I had a good stockpile of things that I could recommend to people in the UK. But one of them that I just still haven't really been able to find is the £65 cardstock, unfortunately. So if anybody knows anyone that stocks £65 cardstock, I think there's a brand called Hunky Dory. I believe I bought some from them, but it was glitter, I think. I can't remember. But also the thing about this Michael's pack is it's so cheap. Like, you get this massive pack of cards. I mean, I've probably already used half of this. Look how thick that is. And that's probably like $10 or something. So it's also about what's cost effective, because you can sometimes get £65 cardstock. Maybe if you go to, I'm trying to think of that, Tonic Studios, for example, but it's so expensive. You have to be realistic, especially if you're selling, you know, you have to be realistic. So I find that the heavier cardstock dulls the blades quicker. To be honest, Julie, I haven't changed my blades in... I don't think I've ever changed my blades. This machine, when did I get this machine? This machine I probably had for a couple of years and I've never changed my blades. So maybe it's to do with the setting. Making sure you have a sticky mat is very important. Making sure your blade is clean. I'll show you guys when I finish this cut, especially after you cut glitter cardstock, checking your blade to make sure it's clean. But you shouldn't have to change your blades that often. But again, it depends. You might cut every day. I don't cut every day because I work full time. But if you cut every day, it's possible that you might need to change your blades more often. But me personally, I've never had to change my blades. So it could be a number of things. The only thing I will say about using the light cardstock setting is I don't think you can do fast mode. I don't believe so. And when you're cutting out paper flowers, it can take a while. So that's one of the things that's not great about it. So whenever I'm cutting, I have this little box. I bought it from the range. And if you're from the UK, it's like £2. And then what I normally do is when I'm cutting, I put everything in these boxes. And then when I assemble, I have one box that has non-cut and one box that I put my cut elements in. Or sorry, my built elements. So things that I've put together that are made, I put them in here. It's just a much easier way to make sure that you're not losing things. I know lots of people use trays and stuff you can get from Dollar Tree or Pound Shop. But for me personally, I like this. I like that it closes. I like that it's acrylic, not like see-through. I like the way it looks. And the other thing that I use, which you'll see me using when I'm working with really small pieces, is this, which I believe I got from a nail art set. My sister-in-law is a nail technician, and she gave me some things to put in a shaker once, and what they came in here. And this, I love this. So if I've got like dots of eyes or small little things, I always put them in here so that as soon as I cut them, I put them in here so they're not going to go missing. They're not going to get stuck to the back of another piece of card. They're not going to end up on the floor. So, oh no. After all that, look. That didn't work. I said it was A4, so I'm not sure why that happened. But anyway, we'll have to cut those ones again. So, I don't have a bin. I normally just chuck things on the floor and pick them up afterwards. So, another tip, when you're taking things off, you can do it two ways. I like to bend my mat and then just kind of follow the shape and take it off like this. If it's a bigger thing, but if it's a smaller thing, I like to use my spatula. And then I just kind of pick them up off the mat like that. It depends how sticky your mat is as to how you have to remove, if that makes sense. These mats I restuck, so I've used them a couple of times. I've used them probably a few times each, so they're kind of at the perfect, not too sticky, not too non-sticky. So I've lost those ones. I'll have to try and move them over somewhere else. I find that the heavier cut, okay, I don't, I do about 3 projects a year. Oh no, you shouldn't have to change your things, Julie. I don't know, that something's not right there. So let me just show you. If you're cutting, you need to take your thing out of your clamp, and then, right, you can already see here, guys. See, this is from when I was cutting before, but see all of this residue? You don't want that, because that is going to get in the way of a clean cut. So make sure, ideally before you start a project, and if you're cutting in between glitter cardstock, just make sure you clean that blade. It makes a massive difference. Use that scrape to cut the wrong ones again. That scrap. Oh yeah, I could do. I'm a bit bad with that cardstock because I've got so much of it. I'm like, eh. Right, okay. I'm not sure what happened. Do you know what it is? I didn't put it as A4. For some reason, A4 wasn't coming up as an option, so I chose something else. Oh, the reason why it didn't work is because I chose the wrong thing, the wrong size of paper. That's why it didn't cut right. That was my fault. That's why I hate cutting, guys. This always happens. And it's the worst thing ever when you just got that piece of material and you literally like want to cry because you've got no more of it. It's the most frustrating thing ever. It's also a lovely feeling when you manage to get it right. So let me see. Now I'm going to do this now, light cardstock. Let me see if there's a fast option. I don't believe that there is. Let's see. No, so there's no fast option for light cardstock. So the main setting that I use is poster board more. That tends to be my default. That tends to be my default for most cardstock. It works for me. I don't even know how I discovered that. Even though I'm cutting glitter cardstock, I always use poster board more. I don't tend to use glitter. I restick my mats. So when I restick my mats, usually I'm lazy. You should usually wash them. Sometimes I don't. I just scrape them. But you should wash them with washing up liquid and water. Or you can use a baby wipe. And then I use this. You can find it on my Amazon storefront. It's called Zigzag Pen. It's a, I don't know how to describe it, but basically it's a dual adhesive. So it can stick 2 materials together, but if you don't stick it together, it kind of goes tacky. And this is what I use. I have a reel on it. This is what I use to restick all of my mats. I only really buy new mats if I have damage to the mats. Sometimes when you don't load them properly, they get a rip or something. But recently I've been very lucky. Cricket UK have kindly sent me quite a few new mats. So I haven't need to buy any, but I tend to restick them because they're just so expensive and they get unsticky so quickly. It's just ridiculous. Like, even when you buy the strong one, the purple one, it gets unsticky. So for me, I don't think it's cost effective to keep buying new ones. I know I've tried different brand ones before. I've not found them to be very good. I know Hobbycraft has started to do their own mats, which I haven't tried. So if anyone's tried the ones from Hobbycraft in the UK, please let me know. But yeah, I just tend to restick them. And what I try to do is, if I know I'm going to do a big project, is I just would restick my mats before I start. So I'll clean my mats and restick them, and I build that into like my time of making something, because there's nothing more frustrating than starting to cut and everything's moving, and it's just, you know, that little bit of time to clean the mat and to restick it does make a difference. So I don't buy new mats personally. I haven't bought a new mat in a long time, but yeah, this is a zigzag pen. I know that some people, there's a thinner one which I never use because I think I bought it once and it came in a set, but a lot of UK crafters, I know Ashley, I can't remember, Elliot Design, she uses this instead of using like Bailey Arts glue or glue because it's got quite a fine tip. It's like a pen, but I never really got down with this. I didn't like to use it for intricate details, but this is also an option for the zigzag pen if you guys want to try that out. I just have it here just in case, but I don't really use it for that. Yeah, no, this glue is good. There's other options as well. There's another thing that you can kind of paint on with like a sponge, like a paint sponge, but I found that to be too messy. You can spray them with adhesive spray, but yeah, that's toxic. I don't want to be doing that, especially I have asthma, so that just wouldn't agree with me. So this tends to be the best option for me. It's not the same as a new mat, I'm not gonna lie. Nothing beats a new mat, but you know, times are hard, so we just got to make it work. So this is almost finished cutting. It does take an awful long time. It would be great if we could skip this stage altogether. I think I'd be a very happy person. So what I think I'm going to do with this cake topper, I'm probably going to confuse myself, but I think I'm going to do a reverse of this one. So say, for example, on the old one, I made something pink. I'm going to make it red. I'm going to confuse myself, I know, but I just want to make it different. I don't see the point in having the same thing. So I'm just going to remove my flowers. And like I said in the design tutorial, I would always suggest cutting out extra flowers because you never know how they're going to sit. And it's nice to just have that option there. I don't normally use 65 pound cardstock for the layers, but I only really have, I don't have many white cardstocks. I have a glitter, I have a textured, and I have this. So I'm just going to use this one, but normally I don't really use it for the layers because it's not super thick. Make sure in between using your mats where you're seeing any bits left over, use your scraper tool and scrape them off. That's also going to make your mat stay stickier for much longer. And it's also going to mean that you get a cleaner cut. If you've got loads of bumpy things on it, it's not going to work well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move where I put the wrong paper size for those previous little flowers that didn't cut. I'm going to move all of those flowers. Is there a way that you can move more than one thing at once? I've never tried that before. Let me see. I'm wondering if I press shift. No. Damn. I was thinking, is there a way that you could move more than one thing on a mat? Does anyone know? From one mat to another? I was just thinking, oh, maybe if I press shift, it might pick it up, but I don't think it does, which is annoying. So, so look, you know, look how long it's, I mean, obviously I'm talking to you guys, but cutting takes a long time. You have to factor that in to the time it takes you to make a cake topper, and therefore into how much you're charging for that cake topper. So the more detailed it is, the more different types of textures and different colors you have, the longer it's going to take you, the more you need to charge. Like I said, when I did a design tutorial, I tend to go a bit over the top. So I like to make, if I have red, I like to use 5 different types of red, where I could just use through 2 different cardstocks, for example. I'll use 5 because I'm just a bit extra. Right, so now I'm going to cut out the rest of my flowers. The other thing I will say about mats is try not to always use this corner. This corner, you can also use this corner and flip your mat around. Yeah, it's gonna, otherwise you're gonna lose all your stickiness here, and all your stickiness around is still gonna be around here. So if you can, I know it might be difficult because sometimes you can't see the numbers to correlate with what you're cutting, if that makes sense, but you can still count the inches. That's what I normally do. And that will be another way to make your mat last a bit longer, because your default position is to put it in that corner and then you don't, especially if you're using A4 size cardstock, which is what we tend to have more in the UK. We don't get a lot of 12 by 12 cardstock here either. We tend to get A4. Then you're going to end up not using the whole mat. So that's just another little trick. So yeah, I'm going to swap everything round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this part pink, and then I'm going to make these parts red. So I'm going to swap it all around, just so that I have a bit of a different look to the cake topper, and so that people can kind of see like the different options. I'll make the front of the heart red. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm trying to find somewhere to put this. I really don't have a lot of space. So after I cut this, I'll go back out into the design and I'll swap all the colours around. And then I'm going to do it silver instead of, what colour is it? Gold. So what I'm going to do while I'm waiting, oops. See, this is where it's difficult because I've got hardly any space. I want to try and start getting out my silver cards, my scraps, before I go into anything else. So I'm going to see what I have in here that I can maybe use. Let me see what I have. I'll take this out. I always do try to use my scraps if I can. This is my favourite silver card, and this is all I have left of it. Look how pretty it is. This is from Michael's when I was in Canada. So depressing. So like here, I've got loads of like little strips of silver card. I'm going to see what I've got to work with here. And I'm going to try and use it up. So what do you guys do? Do you like bother with scraps, or do you just cut every time, just cut new, or what do you do? I try as much as I can to use my scraps, but sometimes if I know I'm going to be cutting out loads and I won't like loads of one color, then I won't bother with the scraps. I'll just probably just go with a new sheet. Intricate detailed designs would look lovely in a shadow box. Yeah, I know. I can't wait to put that one in the shadow box. I've got some up here on my wall. I'll show you guys. Can you see these ones? I've got up on a wall. I've got shadow box. I've got my business one. Like basically, I've got the corner of my dining room, and it's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but my husband has agreed now that I can get a pegboard, which I'm super excited about. So I want to get a pegboard here, and I want to get a pegboard here. But what you guys don't know is that normally here there's I put it on the floor, but my husband has a weights bench, which is normally here in this corner. So I don't know if I can use that corner at the moment to put up a pegboard, because it will mean he can't put his bench there. We're in the UK, guys. We don't have craft rooms unless you're really rich. Nobody has spare rooms like that here in the UK. I have a moderately large 3-bedroom home, but I don't have a craft room. Two of my kids share a room. I've got a massive like front room diner, which is what I'm in, but I don't have a craft room. So I just have to kind of make it work. But also, you know, I have to be able to allow other family members to use the space as well. So once I've got my pegboard up, which I'm going to have done in March, I'm going to be able to put loads of stuff. I think it's just going to look much better. I'm also going to have a massive clear out. I've started to have a clear out already. I sold loads of vinyl and HTV that I had from mystery boxes and things that have been gifted to me that I just don't use. I'm going to be going through my cardstock. So if there's anything that I want to get rid of, I'm probably just going to give them away. So look out for that on my Instagram. I've got lots of patterns, cards and stuff that I just know I'm not going to use now. So I'm going to just like really like have a clear out, and then when my pegboard comes, really think about, you know, what I want to keep and what I'm going to get rid of, because I can't keep everything, and I always keep it thinking, oh, I might use this one day. And as my styles changed as well, there's things that I just know I'm just never going to use. So and the other reason why my husband said he didn't want me to get another pegboard is because he's like, you'll buy more stuff to fill up that pegboard, which he's not lying about. So I think I'm going to get one small long pegboard to start with. That will go on this back wall here that you guys can't see. And when I'm doing my content, especially for brands, it just looks more aesthetically pleasing. It's just when I'm doing lives and stuff, you guys won't be able to see it because of the way that my desk is set up. It goes against the wall, so you don't only be able to see the back of me, which really kind of defeats the purpose. So I wish I could kind of really show my, when I do get my craft, my pegboard, I'll do like, I'm going to do probably on my YouTube, I'll do like a craft space tour, so you guys can kind of see what I've got and how I store things. But it is a bit of a mess, so I'm not going to lie, just because I just don't have the space. Generally, I'm a very tidy person. I'm a Capricorn. I'm very neat and I like things to be a particular way. But I kind of just have to accept that unless I win the lottery and I'm able to buy a bigger house, I'm not going to have a craft room for the foreseeable. So, right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back out into my design, and I'm going to change the colors around, because if I don't change the colors and make them as I want them to be, I really will confuse myself. I'll get really confused and I'll cut the wrong thing and then I'll get annoyed with myself. So let's do this. So the B mine, I'm going to change this to a pink. Let's do a darker pink. And then the B, I'm going to make red. And then the Valentine, I'm going to make a different red. Okay. So I'm just trying to work out the layers here. So that's going to be... Oh no, what happened? Why are these back to... Why are my leaves gone back to... My leaves have gone back to gold. How strange. Honestly, I don't know what happened there. All my leaves are back to... That's really weird. All my leaves have gone back to... Maybe I pressed back too many times. Let me press back and see what happens. My design space is acting up, guys. I don't know what it's doing, but it's doing something very strange. So remember, I changed all of my leaves to a silver colour. I've come back out into the design and they're gold again. And I saw a crafter, I can't remember her name, but there was a crafter who today had up 2 designs. She had a Minnie Mouse cake topper that she made last year, and then she kind of upgraded it and changed the design. However, when she was looking at the design, in terms of when you go on to Design Space and you see your project, it was showing her the design that she had made, the new one. But then when she went in to cut it, it was showing her the old one. That happened to me as well. Although it was with quite a simple cake topper, so it was easy for me. Like, I just redesigned it. But I really felt for her because they never actually got to the bottom of that, why that happened. I think it's because I had my phone open, and I think I was like saving it in 2 places, like on the cloud or something. I can't remember. It's something to do with how I saved it. I think the software got a bit confused. But yeah, no, sorry, I'm having to go in and rechange all of these colours now, which is annoying. Right, so I've done my leaves. Design Space can be extremely glitchy sometimes, which is very annoying. I'm just going to change... Right, so I'm changing this now, so it's more silver. It doesn't look very nice. I'm hoping it, it looks better in reality, but anyway. I'm just going to go with it. Because I don't want to make exactly the same cake topper. It's my idea of hell. So What else do I want to change? Right. So the hearts, I want to make the heart at the front red. And then I'm going to make this back one like a pinky colour, which I think it already is. So where's the other one? Should have 2 hearts. Right. So it's going to be more red than pink, this one. But I'm going to keep the pink flowers. Oh, no. Wait, I need to also change my arrow around. So let's change the arrow. So the arrow, I'm going to make this one. Why does it do this? Oh, that's not working. For some reason, it's not letting me change the colour. I thought of quitting my job and turning my dining into a craft room. LOL dreaming. Oh, I know. I would absolutely love to do this full time, but for me personally, I just don't think it's going to be, well, I could probably do part-time and part-time, but I don't think I could do this full-time because of my current financial commitments. Not anytime soon anyway, but I'm working on it. So I'm going to cut the leaves now. So I'm going to try and use this textured card. This is actually what I normally use when I make these cake toppers, but I ran out of it and I'm frugal and I don't like to buy anything new. So I was just like, I had a bit of gold left. So this is it. This is by Shizix. No, is it Shizix? Oh, I can't remember the brand, but I can't remember the brand. I'll have to look it up on my Amazon storefront. But this is something that I bought on Amazon. It's not Shizix. That's not right. I like the textured version. So let me cut this out now. So this one, I'm going to use poster board, my trusty poster board more. So I don't know how thick that cardstock is in terms of GSM or what's the word? GSM or pounds. I want to go into my Amazon storefront now and see if I can find it for you guys. But I remember I couldn't get hold of it. They sell it in the range, the brand. Is it Dovecraft? I don't think it's Dovecraft. They definitely sell it in the range because I remember finding it once in the range and I was so happy. Let me go onto my Amazon storefront now and see if I can find it. You guys know you can find a lot of the things that I recommend on my Amazon storefront. You can find it linked in a lot of my YouTube videos, or if you go into my link tree, which you can find in the bio of most of my platforms. You can find it there. So let me see if I can find the cardstock. So I'm just going on to my Amazon storefront now. So this is my Amazon storefront, and it just has, like, this is the actual recommendation for some of the items that I use for this Valentine's cake topper, and there's just different things. That's for the snow globe cake topper, then there's sticks, embossing, tool, cardstock, all different things that I use. I'm gonna see if I can find this cardstock on there so I can tell you more about it. Oh, why is it doing that? It says there's 32 products. Oh, it is Dovecraft. It is Dovecraft. So So Dovecraft is a brand that we have in the UK. That's quite, I like it. It's a good quality, and it's not too expensive. Textured card. I don't know if I don't think it's available anymore. I think it might have been discontinued, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's on my storefront. It's under cardstock. It is definitely on there because I just found it now. But I'm going in as myself, so it's weird. So I'm gonna go into my storefront from my link tree, and then you guys can see. My storefront. So if you go into my link tree, which you'll find in my profile, then you'll find all these different things. You'll find all like my YouTube channel and my Cricut Design Space profile, and then you can see my Amazon storefront here. So this is my Amazon storefront. And then if you go into cardstock, sorry, you can't really see. If you go into cardstock, it's down here. So this, the Shizix Dovecraft, here it is. It's a textured one, currently unavailable. Damn. This was good, but I've not been able to find it. 250 GSM it is. I don't know how much that is in... When did you get a calculator? I don't know how much. That's probably like, I don't know, 180, something like that, or 160. I don't know. So, okay, so I just made a mistake there because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, and I put my cardstock the wrong way, I think. I'm not sure why it didn't cut out everything. How bizarre. But anyway, this is one of my leaves. I don't know if you guys can see. It's got like textured. I quite like it. But I didn't cut everything out. I don't know why that is. So with these, because these are small, I will just always take these types of things up with my spatula, because if you try to flip the mat over with this, it's just going to rip because it's so like delicate. But all these little tools that you can buy for Cricut, like, they definitely are worth it. They do help. And I have absolutely no idea why it didn't cut everything out. That is, there's something going on with my... Do you know what it is? No, it's not. It's me. No, it's not me. Something's going on with my design space, because this is how many things should have cut. And I moved them on the mat so that they were going down. And then this is how many came out. So what's missing? So it cut all of these out. It didn't cut any of the ones along the bottom. Honestly, I don't know what's going on, guys. My design space. I might, after I come out of this, I might save and go back in because it's acting very strange. And I really do not have time for this. Right. So I'm going to hide... I'm going to hide these ones, and I'm going to cut again. It's frustrating. Yeah, the texture is really nice. I love it. It's a really nice cardstock. But yeah, I haven't been able to find it for a long, long time. So I have a feeling that, unfortunately, it might have been discontinued. Which is a shame. But if you do see it in the range, they might have it in some stores. Try and grab it, guys. Because I think that something like that, probably in the range, will cost you... If you buy it on Amazon, it might be like £6. But if you buy it on the range, it's probably about £3. It's much cheaper. But I don't have a range near to me, so I don't go to them very often. I'm going to cut it again. Design Space had an update. I've had trouble when I tried to load an image. It's all over the place. Oh, God. Bloody updates. Okay. Okay, after this cuts, I'm going to save it and go out and come back in again, but I don't know if that's actually going to work. So yeah, I mean, without talking, if I was to do this without talking and with no distractions, which I very rarely have, because I normally have children and other things to be doing, looking after, it probably would take me at least an hour to cut everything out for this cake topper. So, you know, it's an hour to design, at least an hour to cut out, at least an hour to assemble. So that's already 3 hours. Probably to be fair, probably is longer than that. So, you know, you have to factor that in when you're doing your pricing. You have to think, how long is it actually going to take me? How much do I want to be paid per hour? How much do my materials cost? And that's something that I was never really very good at. Thinking like, you know, like a business person. And then people make me feel bad and they'll say, oh, I don't have a big budget, and it's a difficult one. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad I don't have to sell anymore. Posting and all of that was very stressful. But then it's sad when I don't get to see my cake toppers on cakes. So the Valentines cake topper that I made, I actually did make it for somebody. And she is a baker and she is also a crafter, and she used it on her cake, and she had a whole setup where she'd made her own napkins and plates and things using her Cricut. So that made me really happy, because a lot of the time I just end up with these cake toppers and they're just here gathering dust. Some of them I frame, but yeah. So this is going to take a long time because the leaves, the scalloped leaves as they're called, they take a long time. Yes, can definitely consider different textures, so not just colors. And that's why I end up using so many different types of cardstock, because I'm not only considering the color, I'm considering the texture. Ideally, you want to not layer two of the same types of textures together, so you wouldn't want to put glitter on glitter, just because you want contrast. You can do that, but you're going to find you're not going to have the same contrast. You don't want to put the same colors on the same colors. So if anybody ever asks me to make a cake topper, they might tell me that their theme, like for example, my cousin I made the cake topper for, she told me her theme was khaki green. That's it. There's no way I'm going to make a cake topper that's just green. It's going to look horrible. So I just put gold in there, and it was, you know, and normally if people give me one color, I will ask them for it. I'll tell them I'm going to use at least 1 or 2 other colors, but I will make that color the main color. So I would definitely say consider your textures. So you've got your textured cardstock, you've got your pearlescent, you've got your glitter. When I say textured cardstock, I don't mean that type of texture. I mean, let me see if I can find something. So this is what I mean by textured. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's probably not the best example. But this is always like got a woven pattern on it. So yeah, I would say always consider, you know, you've got your foil, you've got your mirror card, you've got your foil matte, you've got your mirror shiny. Always try to alternate them. And that's why when you're designing, you need to kind of almost already have that, not in your mind, but that's why my cutting process is never straightforward, because sometimes I will put the colors together or the textures together that I have and I just don't like the way it looks. Like this bee, the amount of times I cut this bee out on this cake topper, and even then I wasn't 100% happy with this, but I was just kind of over it. Originally I had cut this out in more of a kind of pearlescent matte, not matte, but a pearlescent cardstock, and then I changed it. So yeah, definitely consider your colors and your textures. It's just gonna give it more detail and it's gonna make it look better if you can alternate your textures and your colors as well. But you also have to be mindful of working with what you've got. So, you know, don't go out and buy loads and loads of cards. I'm always an advocate for trying to use what you already have, because that's really important. but just messing around with the textures definitely makes a massive difference. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I had an Etsy shop for maybe a couple of months, very short space of time. And then I found that I started working with one particular baker called Mel's Cakes London, and she used to make so many cakes, and she was literally like my neighbor. So I ended up just making cake toppers directly for her, and then I was selling them directly on Instagram. I would say be very, very careful. I won't mention the name, but there's a crafter that has said, you know, she couldn't really say, but she kind of alluded to the fact that they came after her. So just be careful. You can't get around it. It's a risk. It is a risk. I now personally will not put anything on my channel that's copyrighted. So I've got one marble cake topper on my YouTube, and other than that, I will not be doing anything that has a copyright. For me personally, as a content creator, I think it's more risky because I can't just take my listing down. You know, if I've built up all these watch hours on the video, I can't just suddenly take it down. You can't get around it. It is illegal. It's as simple as that. You can get some images on Design Space, for example, which are copyrighted. Like, you can get Disney stuff on there, but they're not to be sold. They're for personal use only. So it hasn't happened to me, but it's happened to a lot of people. Also, if you're in the US, like NBA and like American football, I think it is, that they're cracking down on people. And I know a lot of crafters have stopped doing anything with copyright. It's really difficult because you need to get the work, and I know that's what people ask for. They want an Encanto cake topper, they want a Mickey Mouse cake topper. That's what people ask for. And I know that what some crafters do is they don't put that up on their Etsy. They keep those listings separate. So they put it up on their Instagram, and they'll just be like, message me, DM me to get that. And that's kind of a way around it. Because on Etsy, obviously it's there for the world to see. And Etsy aren't held liable. Unfortunately, it's the person who's selling. But it's a risk that you take because it is, I mean, I know we think, oh, these massive organizations, they're not going to come after us. They make billions of dollars and they do whatever. But it's easy money for them. So, yeah, just be very careful. Just be very careful. That's what I would say. I don't know if anybody else has any advice around that. Like I said, I never really sold on a platform. I don't think they're going to come on your Instagram. You know, they might do, but on places like Etsy and Spotify, where you're actually, Shopify, sorry, where you're actually selling, they're probably more likely to, you know, come for you. So just be careful. I don't want to scare anybody, but I personally have spoken to a crafter who's been impacted. So that would be my word of advice, really. So now I'm going to do my next part of my text. Let me see what scraps I've got. I'm trying to be really good with my scraps, guys, and I'm trying to use them. So let's see how big this is. This is 8. Is this big enough? I think this should be big enough. This one's a bit dirty, but I'll probably try and clean it up. So this I'm using is my mirror cardstock. To be honest, this is, no, I'm not going to use this bit. This bit is really it's really scratched and it's not clean. So let me find another one. This one might work. Let me see. This is going to 8.5. This might be just a little bit too short. I might actually use a new piece of card. I need to go through my scraps because I've got a lot of scraps that actually are not usable. And that's another thing I would say. If something doesn't look perfect, do not use it. If I cut something out, say if I cut something out in foil, and when I take it off the mat, it creases ever so slightly, I'm recutting it. Because I don't know about anybody else, but that's where my eye goes straight to. I can see all the imperfections. And if you're using glue and you use glue and glue gets everywhere, redo it. that's how you're going to have that level of work, is really, really taking pride in everything that you do and being a perfectionist. It's a blessing and it's a curse, but for me, that's how I am. You know, even if I'm making something for myself just for content, if it's not perfect, I'm not gonna put it up. I will do it again. I'll make it again. Even that Valentine's cake topper that I made, even when I put it up, I wasn't 100% happy with it. But when I finished it the first time, I was like, no, I do not like this. Even my son, he's 12. He's a crafter as well. I showed him and he was like, no, Mom, I don't like it. There's something about it. There was something about it that wasn't right. And then I just had to mess around with it until I got it right. And when you take pride in your work, it shows. So like, these are the things, little things that you can do to elevate your work. It's just paying attention to every single element and every single, like if you've bent the cardstock and it's in a layer and it's behind, that's fine. But if it's the front layer and it's like, you know, this text, the text at the bottom and it's creased, don't use it. You have to start again. You have to cut it again, not start again. That would be my advice. If you want your work to stand out and you want to be able to charge more, you have to make sure that your work is perfect. And it's handmade, obviously, so it's never going to be, you know, we're not robots, but you know what I mean. You know, there's times when you take something off the mat and, you know, it's just not quite right, or something cuts a little bit short. You can't get away with it. You have to recut it, unfortunately. So this is my mirror cardstock. I tend to use a Duff Craft brand in the UK, or I think there's one called Anita, I think it's called, which I buy on Amazon. But if I can get into the range, I buy it from there. And it's cheap as chips. You can get loads of it. It's really cheap. So that's one cardstock that we don't really have any issues with buying, getting here in the UK. So, like I said, I'm going to bend my mat and take it off like that. It also stops it from curling. So that's going to be like the main, I thought that was the main part of my text. But anyway, I don't know. I'm just going with the flow. So that's one part of my text done. And then what I would normally do, which I'm not doing because I got you guys here, but I would normally cut my scraps as I go along. So like now, I would cut this. I would cut this down and I would discard this and I'd put this away. But I'm not going to do that now because I'll be here all night with you guys. So we're going to scrape, and now I realise I'm not practicing what I preach. I'm going to flip my mat around. So we've done that one. Yeah, I cut the wrong one out. Damn. I meant to cut. Oh, maybe I didn't. Okay, so this is, you know what? I think this is supposed to be a white layer. Let me see. Did I cut that one out already? Sorry, I didn't cut in order, so no. Is that white glitter? Yeah. Right, okay, so I'm going to do white glitter now. So for the white glitter, this is actually Cricut card. And I've never seen white Cricut card before, but it was gifted to me in a set, a glitter set that had, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find the box, not box, the thing. 1 second. This was the one. So it has white, gold, like a brownie, orangey colour, silver, and white glitter cardstock is probably the most, it's probably the cardstock I go through the quickest. And when I'm not using this free gifted stuff, that's because when Cricut UK gift me stuff, it's often stuff that's like old stock. So it's annoying because then people say, oh, where did you get that? And then I'm like, oh, can't actually buy it anymore. And I don't know if this is going to fit on. So this is what I mean. I flip my mat around, but I can still count the inches. So 1, you can kind of count them, 2, 3, 4. So you can count them down so you can still see if you're going to cut in the right place or not. So this needs to go down to 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't think this is going to cut. I'm going to take a massive risk here, and I'm just going to hope for the best. But I don't know if this is going to work. So yeah, so this cardstock, but the other cardstock that I use that, now, I'm not going to lie, it's very expensive. However, it's the best glitter cardstock you're going to get in the UK. It's by a brand called Italian Options. They sell them on Amazon. Let me see if I have... Let me see if I have it. And again, I use poster board more. I don't think I have any left. But it's on my Amazon storefront, Italian Options. Best glitter cardstock you're going to buy, but you're going to find in the UK, but it's expensive. I think it's... Let me look on my Amazon storefront now. Let me see what I've got here. So it is 250 GSM and 10 sheets is £6. Sorry guys, it's a lot. So I'm not really good at maths. 61p I think each, 61p a sheet. So it's quite expensive. But what I will say is it's really good quality. You're not going to have it ripping and all of that, but it is expensive. And that is probably the cardstock that I go through the most. I don't know why. I tend to make more girly things, and I always use white glitter, so I go for it quite quickly. But the Italian Options comes in lots of different colours. They also do mirror cards, but I tend to get my mirror card from Dove Craft brand because I find it cheaper, and I don't think the mirror version of the Italian Options is any better, personally. Oh, no, guys. Oh, it might... Okay, it's not cut. Damn. I took a risk and my risk did not pay off. So, I don't know if you guys can see, but this is where the E cut. So that's a no. So, let's take it up. Oh, the B came out all right. Anyway, I'm going to have to use a different cut. I don't think I have any. Oh, I do. I have one more sheet of this. Oh, no, I don't. Wait. Oh, I do. This is why I don't like showing cutting, because it's just horrible. These things always happen, and it's frustrating. But anyway, where's my brayer? Here it is. I will say that, you know, the Cricut stuff, I'm not gonna lie, the Cricut stuff is great because the Cricut brand, because it's made to be used in a Cricut, but it's just so expensive, and that is an issue. And in the UK, you know, when you buy from Cricut website, you have to spend like loads on shipping. You can't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna buy one cardstock. They charge you that £6 to ship it. And you can buy stuff on Amazon, you can buy it from Hobbycraft and other places, but there's very limited options. Okay. How do people get around the Disney? Okay, so Lillian's asked, I've already answered that question. So let me know if you guys have any more questions. I feel like I'm just talking now. I don't even know if what I'm saying is helpful. Oh, so here is the that brand, Italian Options. You can see like how many different colors it comes in. So many different colors. Sorry, I'm trying to use my mouse like backwards. Oh, I even got a Christmas tree one, but there's like loads of colors. Green, and there's a mirror, there's purple, there's like this lilac-y color, which is really hard. Lilac cardstock is really hard to find. So go check it out. Italian Options is quite good. And like I said, that they would have this in the same but different finishes. So like foil, they do loads of different colors. They've got a really nice baby pink, which I find is quite hard to find here in the UK. But yeah, it is expensive. The white one, it comes in different whites. There's an ice white, there's an ivory, and then there's an iridescent white. So it's like 3 different types of white, depending on which finish you want. Okay, so We Be Crafty glitter cardstock is an option. They're on Amazon, on Instagram. I haven't had any card from them before, Emma. So I can't comment, but I know that you do a lot of crafting, so they'll be worth checking out. And I think they also sell this, don't they? They also sell tube confetti, We Be Crafty, which is something we can't get in the UK. I have loads because I bought it from Canada, but they also sell these if you're interested in tube confetti for shakers. You can also get those from We Be Crafty, so it's worth checking them out. Okay, so that's that done. This is actually separate. Oh wait, isn't there a circle here? Lost my circle. Where the hell did it go? I lost my circle. Oh, here. It's on the floor. I don't know how it ended up here. Okay. So with this, because it's quite, some of it's thicker, but it's still quite intricate, so I wouldn't normally like just pull this straight off. I would try and pick it up a bit first with this spatula. Me and my son have pet names for all our tools. So I can't remember what we call this one, but the weeder we call the pokey tool. The brayer we call the rolly tool. The quick stick we call the picky up tool. We just have our own little language, don't know. Sometimes they're even longer to say than normal, but so I'm just putting everything in my box so that I don't lose it. Okay, next. I'm already losing the will to live, guys. Honestly, I hate this so much. So what's this one? What I've done here is I've made all these different red ones the same color. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna change these reds so that they don't all appear on the same thing, because it just throws me. So I'm gonna make that a slightly different red, and I'm gonna make this a different red. Okay, let's see. That's weird. Why is that? Okay, so that needs to go here. Right, so I've cut out my leaves, I've cut out my flowers. I'm now going to cut out my I'm now going to cut out some more of the text. Let me see if this is big enough. 5 by 8, just about. Another tip is the machine is never going to cut right to the edge. There's always a gap. So this is a way to save material, or if you really got a tight piece of material, leave this little gap. Don't stick it right into the edges. So this is a textured cardstock. So I normally use poster board. Not poster board more, just post board. Oh, still so much to go. I might have to log off before I finish because my mum has taken my 2 boys to central London to a light show, which she only just found out about it, so she booked it, but it was at 9:30 to 10:30, so they're probably going to be making their way back soon. I don't know, Emma, because I've not done them in order. I never do them in order, but I'm on now I'm on number 10 of 19, but some of them I may have already cut out. So for the acetates, it depends, because I bought a new acetate recently that's thicker, but I tend to do it on poster board more. No, light chipboard. I have a maker, so I do light chipboard more, and then I might need to run it through a couple of times, or poster board more, and I have to run it through about 3 times. You can do personalized settings where you kind of make the cut deeper, or you make it go over many passes, and I did create one once, but I can't remember what I put it under. So yeah, I normally do poster board more and go over it a couple of times, or light chipboard, which sometimes works on the first time, or more. Sometimes works on the first time, and sometimes I need to go through. That's for your standard acetate. There's a thicker acetate that I have put on my Amazon storefront, which I can't remember. I think it's by Paper Mania, the 12 by 12 one. That's just another level of having to cut that. You have to do that loads of times. But that one is, I only use that if I'm having, not like here where I'm having a floating effect. When I'm doing something where I'm actually sticking something onto the acetate, like when I did the superhero one and I had stuff sticking out like the web and stuff, because you just don't want it to be flimsy. Oh, guys, I'm gonna cry. Look how close that is. Yikes. That did not cut properly, but I'm not going to recut this because I'm going to put these together, and I got a feeling that I'm going to change some of these colours. So before I do that, I just want to, I don't want to cut that again, but yeah, that didn't cut all the way. And this is normally what happens when I'm cutting, because I never get to just sit down and cut. I'm always multitasking, and I'm not very good at it. So yeah. Okay. Hearts. So I did the other day find some cardstock. This one. So this, my cousin's wife very kindly sent it to me from Canada. This is from Michael's. It's like a red, this is like £65 cardstock. So instead of making my hearts at the front pink, I'm going to make them this red. And this one, even though it's £65 cardstock, I'm cutting out these hearts. The ones here that have lots of holes. So I'm going to use intricate cardstock more. When I'm cutting £65 cardstock and I'm cutting something out that's intricate, I'll do intricate cardstock more. But wait, before I do that, wait, I'm gonna actually check my blades because I haven't done that. Let me unload it. I'm just going to check my blade and see. See? I cleaned my blade at the beginning and look already how there's so much residue. So, yeah, I'm going to use intricate cardstock more. Let's see how that goes. These take a long time to cut out because they're intricate. Oh, shame. Didn't press the button. Yeah, I have so much stuff that I'm just gonna like give away. Like, I've got this type of cardstock stuff like this. The likelihood of me using this is slim to none. So like, and then my son is into crafting, and then I'm always like, oh, I'll keep it for him, but he's got loads of stuff as well. So I'm just gonna go through all my drawers. I've got loads of, the other thing that I want to get rid of is I've got loads of these gems and stuff. When I went on that competition, I just went a bit mad and I just bought loads because I was just like, oh, I might need them, and now I just have way too many. Some of them I don't really like the way that they look, so I'm probably I'll sell these ones because these aren't cheap. But yeah, a lot of my cardstock I'm just going to give away, so keep your eyes peeled for that, because I want to just have a clear out. Got too much stuff. Like, I've got like scraps of HTV and stuff that I don't use. I'll just give that away. I just want to clear my drawers, and I just want to have stuff that I'm actually using and just streamline. Oh, hi Lisa, seeking some time out of a birthday party. Oh, I hope you're having a good time at the party. Thank you for joining me, I really appreciate it. I'm having lots of errors in my cutting, but this is what I want you guys to see. Even someone who's experienced with using a Cricut machine, I still make mistakes, I still get things wrong, I still have to do things over and over again. Like, it's not straightforward, it's not as simple, and the more intricate your cake topper is, the more layers that you have, the more different mats you have to cut out. And sometimes I'm just like, why have I done this to myself? Why have I done this to myself? But then when it all comes together and I can see how it looks, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it does look good, but it's a lot. Sometimes I just want to get to the assembling, but I can't skip this stage. And my son's quite good, to be honest, so sometimes he does actually cut for me, and I'm just like, I don't want to cut this, and he's like, oh, I'll cut it for you, Mum. So he'll just ask me like, what cardstock do I want to use, and sometimes he does cut it for me. He is very sweet. He has a joy, so he sometimes uses my machine if he's making like a cake topper for his friends or something. I'll show you guys what he made for me for my birthday. So he made me this cake topper for my birthday, and I love purple. Super cute. And he's picked up so many things with me about like how to layer colors and different textures, so I kept that. It's so cute. But yeah, oh, Emma says that her 7-year-old helps with the cutting. Yeah, God, I mean, I'm really a perfectionist, so I know if I ask him to put something together, I'm not going to be happy with it. Not to be mean, but I just know how I like things done. But the cutting is definitely something. And he always makes my shaker mixes for me, actually. I haven't made a shaker in ages. I was thinking of maybe doing like a pastel themed Valentine's shaker thing if I have time, because I'm sick of red and pink now. I've done too much of it. But he usually makes my shaker mixes for me. So I tell him the colors, and then he loves it, and then he gets everything and he makes up the shaker mix for me. So when you guys see my shake mixes made up for like my tutorials, normally he's made them for me. Oh, thank you. I'll let him know you said that, Julie. He honestly, he really is. He made his own cake topper for his birthday. I felt so bad. I've been so ill for like, I'm still ill for like, it's been over 2 weeks and I just can't seem to get better. I don't know what's going on. And it was his birthday on Wednesday of this week, and I had left it to the last minute to make this Valentines Cake Topper. Like, I had to like ship it express special delivery because I'd left it so late. And I was just like, I'm really sorry, Zach, but I'm not going to be able to make your like cake topper. And he was just like, oh, don't worry, Mum, I'll make my own cake topper. So he made himself a little cake topper. He made his own cake. Like, he's so talented and he's so understanding. I did have a plan to make his cake topper, and I follow True Paper Love and I subscribe to True Paper Love. If you're not already, you need to head over to her channel immediately and you need to follow her and you need to subscribe. A lot of the stuff that I've learned from her. But she taught a new technique for building a cake topper, kind of almost like a shadow box kind of cake topper. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. And I was like to Zach, oh, I'd love to make you a cake topper, like using that, the principle of that, obviously making it my own. But yeah, I just didn't have time. Oh, your grandson's getting a cricket. Yeah, it's so nice that he makes cake toppers for his friends. He makes like key rings for his friends and for his teachers, like, you know, and he really takes so much pride in it, and they're always so impressed with what he makes. He doesn't make cards so much. He used to make a lot of cards when he first started kind of with his joy, but he doesn't really like making cards anymore. His main thing is key rings and cake toppers. And I said to him, I'm gonna make a tutorial or a video on how to make a cake topper on a joy, because he slices. So sometimes I don't want him on my machine. Like sometimes when I'm feeling stressed and stuff, like I don't want to hassle of it, because sometimes he gets upset, he can't do something, then the things move, and like sometimes I'm just like, no, I don't have the headspace for it. So those times he will slice. So he will make a normal size cake topper, but he will slice it to make it into 2 parts to stick together to make a whole cake topper. And I was like, you know what, that's really smart. I'm going to do a tutorial, because a lot of people ask me, oh, how can I've only got a joy, how can I make cake toppers? And you can make cake toppers on a joy. You just need to understand how the layering works. So that's something that I'm going to try, so that people who have a joy can kind of see how they can use slicing to make a whole cake topper. Yeah, so he is 12, so he uses his he has an iPad and an iPhone. Like they're old iPads and old phones that when we get new phones we give them to him. So it doesn't have like state of the art. But yeah, he uses his own design space. He logs onto my design space, but I mean he designs in his app. So he doesn't use the desktop to design. He designs everything in his iPad. So just like I don't know how to design an iPad, he doesn't know how to design a desktop. So since he has the offset now, that was the only reason why he used to. So what he used to do was start the design in his Joy, save it, and then he would come over to my laptop to do the offsets. But now he's got offset on Joy, so he doesn't use the laptop at all. He uses his iPad. So yeah, that is the problem. That obviously you need to use a device. So I have done one with lights. I did the superhero one, I think, has got lights in it. And I did a tutorial recently. Well, I don't know, actually. I didn't end up doing that part about the lights. I think I did. I put lights in that dinosaur cake topper. I didn't do a full tutorial on YouTube, but I did some shorts on it. That's great that he sees it to the end. No, he does. Like, he gets frustrated sometimes and he gets upset, but he's good. Like, he will come back and I'll just say, go away and take a deep breath and do something else. Sometimes that happens with me. I get really frustrated. Something doesn't go to plan and I just need to sleep on it. I just say, you know what? I can't do this anymore. You know, and when I'm having a bad day with my machine, I will say to him, like, oh, this is really frustrating me, this is really upsetting me, so that he can see, like, it's not that straightforward. So here's the heart. I love this thing. That takes ages. And for me personally, when I cut this out, I tried to cut it out on, I think, a glitter or a foil, and it was just not working. So if you have got £65 cardstock for that, I would suggest using it. I think it will be easier to cut out. But you definitely can cut it out on other with other cardstocks. So those are my hearts. Right. I feel like I still have so much to do. Okay, so what have I got now? So That was the one. Okay, so now I've got the mine, but I'm gonna change. Gonna go out here. Actually, let me save this because I haven't saved it since I've changed these colors. You know what Design Space is like, so let me just change it before I have a nervous breakdown. Right, so the B, oh, the mine, it needs to be a pink. So I have actually, why is it doing this? Oh, you know what? It's like this whole offset thing. I'm trying to change. Huh? You know, I don't know what's going on here. I'm saying to you guys, do you know? Oh, right, okay. It's like, you know, now in Design Space, they show you the offsets of or like bits that you've done an offset on, but it's not in your design. Does that make sense? It just always throws me. But anyway, I found what I'm trying to look for now. I want to make this pink. So let's go to pink and let's make this pink. Okay. So I'm going to do the mine now. Now, what have I got? Sorry, bear with me a second. I'm just going to see what I have that I can cut out the mine in. So this is the pink version of the red cardstock that I used here. But I don't know about you, but it's a bit, it seems more pearly to me than, there is a purple one, but I don't know. I'm going to try this one and see how it comes out. So this is something that Cricket UK sent me. Oh my gosh, it's like the best cardstock ever. Why is this so big? Oh my gosh. Right, sorry, this is just doing all sorts of madness. It's a shimmer cardstock. I don't think it's going to go with the colours. I think it's too purpley. Do you think? Oh, you think it looks nice? Okay, I'll use it. Every time I use it, Zach's always like, oh, I love that cardstock, Mum. I'm like, you say that to me every single time. And he knows they'll ask me to use it because the answer will be no, because I don't have a lot of it. I don't know how this is going to come out. When you guys go to assemble with me, I might have recut it all because when I put it together, I don't know if I'm going to be happy with how these colours sit, but I'm just trying to make it complicated. I could have just made the same cake topper twice, but hey ho. Right, poster board. I'm going to do poster board more, and I'm going to do fast mode. Okay. Do you ever use vinyl on cake toppers? If glitter vinyl, what transfer tape do you use? I used to use a lot of, when I first started making text toppers, I used to do the first layer always in vinyl. The transfer, I don't do that anymore. I've found a way to, if it's really intricate cardstock, I've found a way to use offset to make it thicker, so I don't feel the need to use vinyl. And I also feel that it takes away from the depth of the cake topper, but you can definitely use vinyl. Transfer tape, I use Cricut transfer tape, or there's a pack of vinyl that's on my Amazon storefront. It's like 12 by 12 and it's loads of different colors, and in that comes some sheet of transfer tape, and I just use those ones as well. I don't know what that brand is. But yeah, it's a good way if you're really working with very intricate. I do use vinyl, but I don't tend to use it on the text part. I tend to use the vinyl on acetate, and you'll see me doing that in my superhero cake topper tutorial. But yeah, vinyl is one of the things that I said I'm going to try and use more, because it does save you a lot of hassle and headache sometimes when you're working with really intricate details. But you know, if you're transferring vinyl onto cardstock, you know, you just want to be careful that it's not too sticky. So you can kind of, if it's the first time you're using that bit of transfer tape, just put it on your clothes and it will just make it like pick up some of the fluff, and it will be just a little less sticky, because there's a risk that when you're peeling off the transfer tape that, you know, you might end up accidentally ripping the cardstock. So this has gone a bit strange. So this is the pink color. It is really pretty. It's like a glitter, but it's shiny. I've not really seen cardstock like this before. I already know I don't think it's going to work with this, but I'm just going to see how it goes. It's really, really pretty. It's one of my favorite cardstocks, to be honest. And you, even if you want to buy it, you can't buy it. I don't think it, I think it's been discontinued in the UK. It's a shimmer. I'll show you guys the name of it. Maybe you can get it in the US, but I think you can get it in the UK, but it's an import. So it takes a long time to come. So I'm going to put this small little bit, which is part of the N, in my little pot, because I don't want to lose that. So this is the cardstock. It's called Sparkle Paper Bejeweled Sampler. I have not got many left in here, but it has a purple colour. It also has a red colour, but I've only got purple left. It has red, purple, pink, green, and blue. The blue is gorgeous, but it's finished. Right. Guys, I'm really losing the will to live now. So I think I might maybe maybe I'll cut the acetate out, because I know you guys are asking me a lot about acetate. So let me cut the acetate layer out, because I think that that's something that I probably haven't showed you. So I've got my acetate here. And I'm going to do the light chipboard more. Let me, do you guys have makers, or what do you have? Do you have Joy? Not Joy. Do you have Explore? Because what I don't want is, okay, I'm going to do it on the light chipboard more. But obviously if you don't have, you have Explore. If you don't have an Explore, then, okay, let me just do poster board more, because everyone has poster board more. Now this is I'm gonna run this through 3 times. I'll tell you that for free. And now I'm gonna have to run it through 3 times. Now, there is some acetate or projector film that they have at work. Hopefully nobody is on the live from my work. But that sort of time I might take a couple of bits from work. And that one is super thick. So that one I have to do it 4 times. But this one 3 times should work. But you can do light chipboard more, and it might come out in one go. Like I said, you can make your own settings, so you can save that setting. And I have done that with acetate before, but I can't remember what I saved it under. So I just tend to just go over it. And because it's normally the outside layer, now trick. This is something that I did not know. I had used Cricut for maybe 2 years before I knew this, and you guys probably know. But if something doesn't cut through, do not unload your mat. Do not press the unload button. Press the C button, the Cricut button, and Cricut will go over that cut again, completely in the same place. You have to be conscious of it. Sometimes I unload my acetate and I swear, because I'm like, God, why have I done that? But, you know, you can, I'll show you, you can kind of test once it's gone around. I'll show you, you can test to see if it's cut. And it might be that it's the first time you're cutting a material and you're not sure if it's cut out. I would always say just test it in the way that I'm going to show you. And if it hasn't cut, like as in you can't just lift it away easily, just let it go over again. And usually it's going to be with thicker materials. So like now I could lift this up and I can see, you see here, that it's not cut all the way through. So I'll just press the C again. But when I put that on TikTok, it's like the holy grail. Like I got like 225k views, and I'm still getting views on that video. And it was just a small thing. And I think I saw somebody do it actually on Cricut, like a reel or something that they had on, not Cricut UK, Cricut. And it was these 2 guys. And I remember that they pressed the button and I was like, huh? I did not know that you could do that, honestly. Oh, for the joy. I don't. I need to do more on my son's joy. I don't know. I don't know much about the joy. Um, I'll have to test that out and see, because yeah, you don't have the button, do you? I'm not sure, to be honest. I'd have to give it a go. I am going to try and do a few tutorials on the joy, just because I know not everybody's got an explore and a maker. I would always say, if you do want to make cake toppers, go for an explore. I don't think a maker is required. I don't think a maker 3 is required. I think explore machines are perfectly fine. I just got the maker because my old explore broke, and I used to have the ones with the dials. It was a really old one. So look, now you can see that is coming away, so I'm quite happy. Now it doesn't come, now when I cut my acetate, it doesn't come away straight away. So look, here it's still connected, but what I do, I could cut it again, but I'm not bothered, is I use my quick stick and I take the flat part of it. You could probably use a spatula to do this, and then I just like press down around the edge and it kind of just comes away. Still have to be careful because it can still rip, but that's what I do. And then that's how I get my acetate. So I think I'm going to leave it there because I've still got so much more to cut, and talking and cutting is taking me a very long time. But the joy is great for traveling. No, definitely. The joy is a really good machine. It is really, really good. It just restricts you in terms of the size of projects that you can make. But there's definitely lots of pros. And if I had more desk space, I definitely would have a joy. And there's certain elements that I would cut on my joy. I just don't have the space to have a joy and my maker out. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sitting with me through the struggles of cutting. I hope that you learned some new things from this live. And if you haven't already, please watch my part 1 so that you can design this cake topper and then cut it between now and next week Saturday, when I'm going to do the assembly tutorial. So that one, you won't see my face, it will just be my hands, but I'll be talking you through how to assemble, you know, when I use foam stickers, when I don't, different things around layering, how to position the flowers, where to position them. So I know somebody asked at the beginning, do the flowers stick on the acetate? Kind of yes and no. We'll talk a lot about positioning. So when I designed this cake topper with you guys for the second time, I designed it slightly differently. So it might be that when we assemble, actually, I'm not happy with where the flowers sit. I might end up cutting out some more. And I just want to kind of show you and give you that confidence to just mess around with things. These types of cake toppers are not ones that you can kind of just replicate exactly, you know, because of just so many factors that come into it. But yeah, it's been nice talking to you guys. And I hope that I can see you next week, which I believe is the 11th, at the same time, 9 p.m. I'll be doing assembly. If you guys have any questions between now and then, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. Or you can also, it's probably better if you can actually comment and ask the question under the live post videos, because that way other people can also see the responses and it helps the algorithm to push out my video. Thank you for everybody who listened to my plea to help me get to 4,000 watch hours so that I can monetize my YouTube channel. What that effectively means is when you're on YouTube and you guys get those annoying ads and you skip the ads, people who those videos are on can get a small payment from YouTube for those ads. And that's what the monetization of my channel means. It doesn't mean it will cost any extra for you. There'll be no charge for you guys, but it just means that it kind of incentivizes me and helps me to move towards my goal of doing this as a full-time job. So if you haven't already, please do head over to any of my videos that you haven't watched already. I think if you've watched the videos already, it doesn't count if you watch it again, but if you feel free to watch them as many times if you want, especially if you're following a tutorial. But, you know, if you could also look at my long form, not my shorts. And once I get to my 4K, which I believe should probably be tomorrow, it might even be now. It seems to reset at like 10 o'clock at night. I don't know why. Once I've got to my 4K, I will let you guys know. I'll be having a celebration because it's one of my goals for this year, and I've already kind of got there so early on in the year. So thank you, Julie, Susie, Mrs. J. Thank you, everybody, Michaela, Valencia, everybody who's been kind of in this live from the beginning, Susie. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing your cake toppers. If you have already made a cake topper, which lots of people have already done, please, 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 can you send me some pictures or videos on Instagram? I'd love to see them, and I'd love to share them with other people. I love the way that people have made them their own, and they've used the concept of my tutorial, but they've used their own text, or they've used different flowers, and they just look so beautiful. Or they've used the same cake topper, but they've used different colors, the same design but use different colors. Like, it really makes me happy. So thank you, everyone, and I will see you soon. I'm so glad I didn't have any tech issues. I'm quite proud of myself. So now I know what I need to do next time. I know when I'm streaming what I need to do, and I know when I'm coming on my phone what I need to do. So thanks for troubleshooting with me, and thanks for being part of my live journey, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Okay.